Towns Footy Club, and it'll be a really interesting contest, this one. Northampton have been in pretty good form. They haven't been winning too many games, but they've been going okay. The last week they went down by only 49 points to Rovers, the league leaders, so that was a reasonably good effort. A couple of weeks prior to that they had a massive win. Northampton had the bye, and then prior to that they had a 91-point win over Mullawa, so they've done pretty well in times gone by. But Towns, of course, they're on the brink of making the Final Four if they can win a couple of games. And they have a better percentage than Chapman Valley. But Towns need to win today, and they need to keep that dream alive. And they're looking to do that. Joined in commentary, as I mentioned, by Peter Ferenza. And Peter, very special day. We just saw the 1976 Premiership side, the remaining members, out on the Oval. And quite a fitting tribute, really, to the way they've started this club off with a big win back in 1976 over Northampton by 4 points. Yeah, it was an impressive performance by Towns, as you said, just by the 4 points. And Peter Swarbrick kicking the winning goal, Glenn, and he kicked it from it was at the recreation ground, so probably not at this ground, but it was a long way to the Shenton Street end to bring Towns home with the premiership for season 2076. Well, most of them are here, Glenn, and tonight they will celebrate in the club rooms, and yourself and I I'll be honoured to have been invited along to the occasion, so we're looking forward to it. But they'll reminisce and go over what was an exciting year and the start of what has been a terrific existence of the Towns Football Club, the second youngest club in the league, only being initiated in 1952 by the Clune family. Yeah, so a big opportunity today for the Towns supporters and faithful to get along and see some of their past greats. Alex Kotowski, the coach of the 1976 side, is here, and I'm looking forward to him address the crowd later this evening. But in other games today, we can tell you there's games happening out at GBSC Sports Park out there at Eden Clark Oval. And in the Colts, Brigades won that one 5-6-36, defeated Railways 4-11-35. In the reserves, it was Brigades 4-6-30. They defeated Railways 3-5-23. And in the women, Railways 3 goals straight defeated Brigades 1-3. But we're underway in the big one this afternoon, our match of the day from WA Country Builders Stadium. And Northampton grabbed the ball first from the first set of ruck. And Tyler Caddy, as the player, has the ball held to him. The umpires this afternoon, the Sandra Carr MLA GNFL umpires, Theo Bennett, Darren Bryce and Paul Brown. Ball comes back into play, picked up by Towns. A little bit of rain around, but not a lot of rain so far in this last couple of hours. There was rain earlier on in the Colts game. Umpire Bennett puts the ball into the air again. This first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. Ball comes out, goes the way of Heberley. Heberley quickly gets boot the ball, kicks it towards full forward. And Rex Heberley has picked out brother Gus. And Gus Heberley will shoot on goal. And Gus Heberley is only 15 metres out. Got a bit of breeze to worry about. The Kia windsock, which is the best windsock in the league, blowing directly across the ground. So as Gus kicks this, Gus Heberley will have the breeze blowing directly across his boot. So Gus Heberley, 20 metres out. Ball grabs it, and the wind has grabbed it and takes it away. And the first score on the board of the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard this afternoon goes the way of Gus Heberley at 1 point to Towns.
And reminding you, this quarter brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. Ball going out on the far side of WA Country Builders Stadium. Northampton out of defence. Towns quickly into attack in this game. Keen to make an impression on this very special day as they send it down the Floors Road side. That's the Northampton side. And it goes the way of Tyler Caddy. Tyler Caddy has been instrumental for Northampton so far this season. Hasn't been the best, just the one win in the bag, but Tyler Caddy certainly has been amongst the better players each and every week. Up they go now, players setting themselves. It's knocked down by the youngster in Criddle. And Glenn, he's had somewhat of a baptism of fire. He's only a youngster, I think barely 18 years of age.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he? He's learning a lot. He's certainly working hard. He's a good worker. He works hard around the ground. And he'll have an interesting contest. Towns don't have a lot of big men at the moment either, so he has an opportunity to dominate, but Towns get the best of it on this occasion. Ball on centre wing on the Floors Road side of the ground. Northampton have been given a free kick, goes the way of Kieran Harris. Kieran Harris plays on quickly, gets to the way of Bartolo.
Bartolo, big kick up towards half forward, pack into the air, ball comes back, and once again the boundary line comes into play just in front of the WA Country Builders Stadium big banner on this beautiful ground here at Wanthella. And the boundary umpire will come in and throw the ball back into play. Ball comes back in. Once again, Criddle's there, slaps it to ground, goes the way of Northampton through the agency of Luke Canny. Good to see him back playing good footy. Canny gets it up the ground, goes the way of Caddy. Caddy kicks it up towards Grady Tomelty, but the ball is rebounded and Towns have it through the agency of Hugh Bertram. Bertram gets it up towards the half back line, but once again Northampton stand in the way through Sam Lawson. Lawson gets it away, goes to Criddle, pack around the ball. Players of both sides around the ball. Umpire giving it plenty of opportunity to come out. It does spill. Goes the way of Kieran Harris. He kicks it towards full forward. Looking up there for the big man. Ball bounces forward. Grady Tomelty's eyes lit up, but he didn't have an opportunity to get boot to ball. He's tackled, and the umpire will come in, umpire Paul Brown, and throw the ball up. About 15 metres from goal at the Wanthella end of Wanthella Park.
Only 4 minutes into the first term. Ball in front of the shadows of the goals for Northampton, as mentioned by Glenn, kicking to the northern end, the Wanthella end, the 8th Street end of this pretty impressive arena. The ball going the way now of Towns as they get out of defence through Bonnie. Bonnie kicks it up into the air, bit of a rainmaker. Could have that come to fruition later in the afternoon if they present anything to go by. Going the way of Williams now. He kicks it just as high as he kicks toward the big sticks, but misses all and sundry and is out on the full. So it's going to be an interesting game today, Glenn. I listened to Gerard Marquis talk on Footy Forum this morning. You've got two teams here, one that is used to having a big ground in Towns and one that's used to having a small confined ground in Northampton.
Yes, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out the best this afternoon. Both sides working hard. Ball comes back into play from the boundary throw-in. Picked up by Northampton. Northampton's caddy is the player working well there. Gets in the way of Teakle, but Towns can rebound now. Goes the way of Leon Jones, kicked 4 last week. Gives it on to McGregor. McGregor gets it up the ground. Finds the hard-running player there in Graham Sandy. His first game with Towns after moving over from Brigades. He goes back to Leon Jones. Leon Jones runs towards goal. 45-degree angle. Shoots towards full forward. Picked up now by O'Brien.
Clever.
And he shoots towards goal. And Jay O'Brien gets the first major of the afternoon. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Towns go to 1-7. And a good goal there from Jay O'Brien, but a good setup as Towns move the ball in the best passages of play of the day. Graham Sandy involved.
I think Popovich might want him in his lineup upcoming game over there at the World Cup then, because he certainly knows how to kick a ball on the check side. There is quite mercurial. Is Jay O'Brien, and he finishes with the first goal of the afternoon for Towns. So they break the ice, and they are 1-7, leaving Northampton yet to open their account. So Jay O'Brien, since moving over from Chapman Valley, has become very important to Towns, hasn't he?
He has. He's in the leadership role, but he's a good young man. He works very hard, and it's good to see him getting amongst the goals again.
The ball coming out of the middle now, quickly snuffled in attempts though. Williams on the ground, gets it away now to a teammate there who sends it forward in Aidan Bortolo. Bortolo for Northampton, sends it just short of the forward 50, but they do have control of the ball now, do Northampton. And it is Luke Canny who sends it inboard. No one can take the mark as it comes inside. The big arc players diving on top of each other, going the way of the player there in Teakle. Teakle didn't have possession or caught in possession, and the ball goes back the way of Towns. They go to the outer side, the Falls Road side of the ground, the wide expanses, WA Country Builders Stadium. The ball comes in though. Towns missed the bounce, going back the way of Northampton. Can they capitalise and get their first score on the board? They will. Almost. Grady Tomelty almost took a slip catch, but wasn't good enough in the end. Needs to go and see one of the War brothers to work that one out. But the ball goes to ground, bit of a pack develops. Thrown up now, and do they have another opportunity to shoot? But Towns know the better as it goes to the outer side through Will Faithful. Faithful and the Bulldogs Guernsey sends it toward the boundary. At centre wing, it goes over the white line. But Grady Tomelty, his eyes lit up on that occasion.
It did. So Northampton have had their opportunities, haven't been able to put the icing on the cake yet. Picked up by Northampton to get the ball forward through Jackson Eastoff. He goes out wide. And Northampton still have possession as Woodcock gets it up towards half forward. Looking up there for a teammate. Northampton working hard. Towns defenders put pressure on him. And umpire Brown will come in and throw the ball up just below one of the big lighting stands here at Country Builders Stadium at the Wanthala end, about 50 metres from goal, right on the boundary line on the outer side. Goes the way of Towns. Towns ruckman Hugh Bertram knocks the ball towards the boundary line, and the boundary umpire gets called back into play. So we've played 7.5 minutes in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton, and a margin of 7 points in favour of the Bulldogs. Breeze blowing directly across the ground, if anything perhaps favouring the racecourse end or the golf club end, but the breeze generally blowing across the ground. Once again, there are going to be a lot of these this afternoon, a lot of congestion around the ball. The players go at it, about 8 players from each club around the ball. Northampton player didn't appear to have possession. That's the way the umpire has seen it, and a free kick will go the way of the Northampton player, who'll go back and send the ball forward. So Northampton quickly get it up towards full forward, looking up there for the player there in Callum Teakle. Ball bounces away from him. Towns can recover. Towns player gets ball picked up now as they goes forward again through Heberley. Goes up towards centre wing, outer side. Bit of volleyball around the grounds as players tap the ball backwards and forwards. But umpire Bennett will come in and throw the ball up once again.
As we head to the middle stages, or just short of the middle stages here at WA Country Builder Stadium in the first term, thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. The ball going the way of Northampton. Caddy, he tries to go through traffic, but is just possessed in doing so. Going the way now of Towns, and Bonnie has it. He puts it onto his boot. He sends it down the line on the far side, and they're away are the Bulldogs as it goes way of Hebley now. Hebley all on his own, goes straight down inside the corridor. And a nice mark is taken there, and now Towns will have their first shot on goal. So, of course, the player that has taken the mark is the full forward, I think. So he will now have a shot on goal. So let's see what he can do. He's going to kick from about 45 metres, or 40 metres when he gets onto this one. Looks okay. Going to drop short, a little bit too short and through for the minor score. So shooting on goal was, of course, Jalen Parsons. And on that occasion, he just didn't get the win behind him, Glenn.
He didn't. 1 goal, 2 on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard. So Jalen back into the side today.
He's a big in, isn't he?
He's a big in. The week before he kicked 7, and last week he was absent, so Towns welcome him back with open arms this afternoon. Ball comes out of play, and the ball goes the way of Criddle. He slips over. In goes a Towns player and has the ball held to him. A Northampton player fighting hard for the ball. There is Cohen Fletcher. The umpire has no option but to throw the ball up once again. Towns player goes early, comes to the ground. Towns have it again. Whistle on play. The umpire has no option but to come in and throw the ball up. And there's going to be plenty of them this afternoon by the look of it. In fact, the free kick there, Towns player was interfered with, and Sewell gets it up towards half forward. Ball very close to the danger zone now, picked up there by Raymond Bonnie. Whistle on play. Bonnie's caught in possession. Northampton get the free kick on half back. So Northampton defence, boot the ball on his left boot, goes out wide, looking there for Criddle, very close to the boundary line. And that was Angus Reynolds who kicked the ball there. But a free kick now goes the way of Towns. So it's kick to kick as Towns send it forward, up towards the forward pocket, off hands, and there'll be a boundary throw in the left forward pocket, golf club end of Wanthala Park.
Young DeLacy, we talked a little bit about him on Footy Forum this morning. Glenn, he's a player that has certainly become a mainstay of Towns in recent years, and hopefully they hold on for a little while longer, because he certainly has developed into something special, hasn't he?
He is. He's a good young player, good cricketer as well. So it's good to see him playing those games. You've got to play 40 or 50 games before you start making your way in senior footy, and he seems to be doing that now, which is good news for Towns, because they have got a developing bunch of players.
Yeah, looks pretty fit this season as well. The ball on the far side of WA Country Builders Stadium. It's about to be thrown in toward the golf club end, if you can make the picture in your mind, or if you're watching and filming footy, you certainly know where it is. The ball inside the forward 50. Players not able to get their mitts on it from either side, and Towns desperate. Or I should say, Towns are desperate to add another score on the board, and the ball will be thrown up once again. Up they go. Ball coming off the pack now. The defence for Northampton working overtime as they do off the half-back line now. That was an awkward kick, but he got into space just outside the defensive 50. That's picked up by Towns again. It's Forrester who has it. A beautiful kick, lace-out kick. He sends it inside the 50, and a nice mark is taken on this occasion by Caleb Sewell. Caleb Sewell, good youngster as well. Comes from a bit of pedigree, as I've mentioned, in recent weeks. Caleb Sewell, we saw a kick from here earlier on that didn't make the distance from Hebley. Let's see if Sewell can do better. He'll come in almost at the same angle. He's going for the short lead. He's looking for Parsons. Parsons doesn't let him down. That was a nice mark, Glenn. It was a pack mark. In fact, it's been paid to Parsons, and he marked it on his chest too, Glenn, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he did well, and Caleb Sewell got the ball there. He knew what he was doing, and he looked for Jalen Parsons, who's a lot closer than his last shot on goal. 15 metres out, 45-degree angle, and Jalen Parsons gets his first of the afternoon and gets Towns second. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Towns are now 2-2-14. They lead Northampton, no score. That's probably a little bit unfair because Northampton have had the ball in their forward 50 on a couple of occasions, but haven't been able to be too efficient. Towns have just had the nice way of finishing off. And Jalen Parsons, of course, a big, strong body, and he's always hard to combat. And weather conditions like this make it even harder. So Jalen Parsons, a good confidence-boosting goal in the early stages of this game. We played 13 and a half minutes in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
Alex Gutowski, Glenn, the coach of the 76 winning team for Towns, a premiership side, tossed the coin for today's game.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. And, of course, he came from West Perth, but we learned this morning he had been on the Carlton list for 2 years prior to coming to West Perth. So he had a lot of knowledge and he brought it to Geraldton, which has been a good thing. Towns use the advantage rule now as Rex Hebley gets it forward.
Beautiful mark.
And a good strong mark taken again by Jalen Parsons.
Lovely kick by Hebley too.
Yeah, beautiful. But we've seen this before, Peter. Jalen gets a couple of early touches. His confidence rises. And that means the Northampton defenders are in for a big day.
He's one of the few true forwards in our league at the moment, isn't he?
Very much so. So Cam Holmes stands the mark. Jalen Parsons sets sail for home, but he's offline on this occasion. So he's kicked 1 goal, 1, and one didn't make the distance. So offline on that occasion, but we must say there is a breeze blowing directly across his boost, and it's very, very tough out there. The kicking conditions make it very difficult.
Listening to Radio Mama on Radio Geraldton. Radio Mama, of course, we are the home of GNFL football. Of course, Country Week is not too far away, and we'll be headed down there to cover the Colts campaign. Jared Marquis, the coach of the Colts, spoke today, Glenn, and he's got a tough job ahead of him. He's got a squad of 30, but he's finding it hard to whittle it down.
Yes, he had a squad of 50 to start with. He's down to 30, but he's got a little way to go yet. They train tomorrow out at Greenough, out at Rovers Oval there at 5:30 if you want to see the young Colts side train tomorrow, one of their last trainings, but heading off to Perth the week following. And as Peter mentioned, Radio Mama will have all the action on the Thursday and Friday of Country Week for the Colts Carnival. And we've done it before, Peter, when we went down and supported the Colts side a few years ago in Mandurah.
Very exciting campaign it was too,
wasn't it? It was really good. So it's good to support our young players. But the majority of the players that get selected are all playing senior footy. There's 3 or 4 pretty well Colts players playing in every side, and some of them will go to the Country Week Carnival. Northampton have the ball on centre wing now on the outer side, Floors roadside. Picked up now by Lawson. He gets boot the ball, goes forward. A good mark taken by Callum Teakle. Feeds a handball out to a teammate running by. And Jackson Eastoff's that player. He gets the ball forward, looking up there for Luke Burns. But Towns have the numbers. Northampton put good pressure on. And the umpire said, no, I'll throw the ball up. Northampton asking the question. The umpire said he didn't have prior opportunity, so the umpire will put the ball into the air. Northampton desperate for a goal while they have it in that region. Northampton players working towards the goal line, but once again the boundary line comes into play, and there'll be a boundary throw-in around a metre from the right point post at the Wanthala end of WA Country Builders Stadium.
Time ticking away in the first quarter, brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. Ball coming in now, players setting themselves in the full forward area for Northampton, but the Towns defence get it out, but straight down the throat of the Northampton custodian just outside the forward 50. He'll now have a shot inboard. Eastoff it is again. Nice kick. Up they go, but 2 Towns players try and take the mark, but they're outsmarted on this occasion by the littlest fella in that passage of play, and now he'll have a shot on goal. So Northampton could get their first goal of the afternoon, and it's an important one because it'll get them off the Norts, and they have had it in their forward 50, as you have mentioned, for just as much of the period in this quarter as Towns, and the kick is not a bad one. It's gonna,
good kick.
just dropped short though. And, well, it comes off hands and through for the minor score. So, alas, not another goal yet for Northampton.
Yeah, good effort there. So the first score on the board for Northampton. They are one behind. They trail Towns 2-3. Towns quickly get the ball up the ground. They've got it with the new player, Jake Bidewell, playing his first league game for Towns this afternoon. Goes the way of the Towns player and caught with possession, and that was the player there in Dylan Shiozaki. Northampton get it forward, and the big Northampton player, Robert Jansen, who had a possession earlier. Jansen plays on, puts it on his left boot, but a good solid mark taken there by Towns in Bo Walker. Walker goes backwards to go forward, gets Leon Jones. Leon Jones kicks it forward, picks a teammate out. Having trouble with the sun was Raymond Bonney. Bonney gets it out, looking out there for Jake Chapman. Northampton can get the ball back on their terms if they can break this one, and they do. Northampton feed it out to Kieran Harris, picked up there by the player there in Lockie Teakle, and Northampton have it now, and a big kick forward from Lawson finds a teammate in Gus Spalding. Spalding puts it on his left boot. Ball running free. Goes the way McGregor cleverly slaps the ball forward for a force behind. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Northampton are 2 behind and Towns are 2-3.
McGregor smart to the fact that you can do that in this particular competition. Would have been penalised in the AFL, but able to still do it in our competition, and he knew that, and he ensured that no Northampton player was able to get near the ball and make something of that passage of play. The ball on the far side now, the Floors Road side of the ground. It's still with Northampton. Can they get a score soon? Put the pressure back on the home side. The ball goes away now of Towns, though, in defence, and that is coming through the middle of the ground, and the player there in Shiozaki gets it again. He goes laterally to the outer side, and the mark is taken by Northampton. The Rams player now on the half-back flank, just outside the centre square. He goes down that line now, looking for support down there and finds it. I think it's Caddy again who takes the mark. He's racking up kicks as always and possessions. Caddy now, the Kalbarri player, sends it into the full forward area. Up goes Teakle. Gee, got right up into the air. That would have been a glorious mark, but he came down just too early. The ball goes to ground. Players diving on top of it, and the umpire will come in to relieve the pressure. So Callum Teakle getting off the ground. A bloke that tall, Glenn, he was almost a skyscraper.
Yes, would have been a mark if he had been able to grab it. He went a fraction early. Good effort. Ball comes the way of the Northampton player who's tackled high. Free kick will go the way of a Northampton player there in Cole Salinovich, and he is a youngster, and he's one of the players.
He hit the last shot on goal, incidentally, Glenn.
Yeah, Cole Salinovich. There goes Cole's kick. Looks pretty good off the boot, but it fades away again. This time it goes out of bounds on the full. So Northampton doing okay, but not getting the score on the board. But the breeze is a far tougher one than we realise, I think, as we see Towns bring the ball back in through Aiton Mason.
It would be a frustrating breeze, Glenn, going across the ground, straight across at this stage.
That's right, and all our grounds run this way today. And so the ball will be thrown back into play.
We hopefully get a score soon from our friends out there at GBSC Sports Park. Of course, top of the table clash there between Railways and the home side, Brigades.
Yes, and it's an interesting scoreline, and it is Brigades 2 goals straight, Railways a 1-1. So tight game as you'd expect in the early stages of that game. Ball back into play, goes the way of Towns. Towns pack around the ball. Umpire has no option but to come in and throw the ball up again. So I'd hate to be counting how many times there's going to be a throw up this afternoon. There's going to be plenty of them, I'd say. The ball comes the way, goes the way of Towns, and that's the way of Hebley. Hebley gives it to DeLacy. DeLacy goes the way there of Middleton. Ball comes away from him. Picked up now by the Northampton player who quickly throws boot the ball. Sam Lawson. And Lux of Fortune.
Good goal.
The ball from Sam Lawson went through the goals. It bounced through the goals. And the Towns player there, Robert Bonney, was putting good pressure on. But Northampton deserved a little bit of luck. They've been working hard. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Towns are 2-3-15. They lead Northampton 1-2-8.
You must need a goal for Towns as we head toward the quarter-time break here at WA Country Builders Stadium. This is Drennan O'Malley Game Day. Peter Forenza and Glenn Barnard bringing you all the action from WA Country Builders Stadium today. It is an anniversary, the 50th anniversary of the Premiership. Town's first Premiership back in 1976. And, of course, they have a lot of members of that particular side here today, and they'll be celebrating tonight here at the club rooms. Ball back in the middle now. Umpire Bennett throws the ball aloft. Down it comes. They've got their tails up now, have Northampton, and that player who just scored the last goal is in everything at the moment as he goes forward. And Sam Lawson loses possession, though, and a bit of a pack develops. Williams at the bottom of the pack, as always. But no prior opportunity for anyone. And the umpire gathers the ball once again. As I said, time ticking away, 23 minutes gone. And this quarter brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. And as I announced that, it is quarter time here in our Drennan O'Malley game day. And at quarter time, it is the home side Towns, 2-3-15. They lead Northampton 1-8. And you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football. Live on Radio Mama, it's your GNFL match of the day. Thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Our name is derived from the Greek prefix, macro, large. From the day we were born, this has been a promise for the future. We have grown through dedication, sweat, self-denial, faithful to our mission of being on the side of those who put themselves on the line. Through our name, we celebrate the greatness of those who believe there are no obstacles higher than their dreams. The courage to get back up after falling. The obstinacy of believing until the end. These are the values embedded in our logo. The Macron Hero. It's a celebration of sacrifice and tenacity. Up until your personal victory, until your arms are in the sky. Become your own hero.
Contest, Brigades 2-1-13, Lead Railways 1-1-7, and we'll bring you up to date with the Chapman Valley Mullawa game at Mullawa.
And that's thanks to Kerry Moore, isn't it?
Yes. Ball back in the centre, and the umpires this afternoon, Sandra Carr, MLA, GNFL umpires for this afternoon, Theo Bennett, Darren Bryce and Paul Brown, and we're underway in the second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the federal member for Durack. Ball comes out now. Northampton get the ball quickly forward. Looking up there for Sam Lawson, the goal scorer. He gets the ball quickly forward. Umpire almost found himself marking that ball. Ball comes back into play, and Northampton get it deep into the forward pocket, and the ball goes out of bounds, and the boundary umpire will come and throw the ball in about 30 metres around from the left point post, the golf club end of the ground. So the boundary umpire gets the ball back into play. Ball comes the way of Callum Teakle, slaps it down, picked up by Lawson, kicks it towards full forward. Towns have the numbers. Can they put a handle on it? Towns do so now. Goes the way of Sewell. He goes backwards, but gets it out. Now it comes the way of Simmons. He gets the ball forward and finds Graham Sandy in his new colours. Playing at Towns now, transferring over from Brigades. Gets in the way of the teammate there in Bonnie, but it's turned over. Kieran Harris is clever. Gets the ball towards half forward. Looking out there, but Northampton under pressure as Bo Walker kicks the ball out wide. Looking out there for Noah Middleton. Noah Middleton on centre wing, out of side. The pack comes to him, and the umpire says play on. Eventually the ball does spill, and the Northampton player gets it out, but only as far as Towns. So Towns have it now. They break a tackle, and that's Gus Hebley. And there he is. A good mark taken by a Towns player deep in the forward flank.
They play on now to Towns. A nice sharp kick. Gee, it was beautiful. It was executed beautifully. And Jalen Parsons, he can catch him from anywhere if you send it in his vicinity. The bearded Jalen Parsons today. He's going to have a shot on goal now. He's on a slight angle, kicking toward the Wantala end. He'll kick from about 35 metres when he gets onto this one. So going for goal number 2. I reckon he'll nail this one. Have I put the marker on him? Let's see what happens. No, I haven't. It's straight through the middle, and Jalen Parsons has scored his second goal of the afternoon. Put Towns in a good position early in the second term. They are 3-3, and they lead Northampton 1-2.
Yeah, not the start that Northampton needed. Towns quickly into the fray. As we've said, Jalen Parsons, he's kicked 2 goals, 2 now, so he's starting to get his eye in, and he's a very damaging player. So a good bit of play there from Towns. They finished it off well. Good to see Graham Sandy getting involved so quickly.
He's a player of note, though, Glenn. He's got a bit of toe about him, so he'll certainly fit into the side well.
Yeah, he's just a little bit underdone in the fitness department, but that'll come, of course, and it's good to see him back.
He should spend some time with you during the week, then. He'd be right.
That's right. Well, Graham and I could walk together. I don't know that to get him fit enough somehow.
Okay, the ball back in the middle now, and it goes the way of Towns once again. Hebley has it. He's doing well in the middle. Is Gus Hebley. He sends it out to the outer side. It's picked up by the custodian for Towns. There goes away of Sewell. Hebley back to Sewell now, right in front of our broadcast position. He weaves through a couple of players, puts it onto his boot. A chip pass. He's looking for Forrester over the back of a player. Forrester collects the ball, is brought to ground. The umpire lets the game move on as the ball spills, and finally decides to stop the action. Comes in to throw the ball up. In front of the big crowd here, reasonable crowd at WA Country Builders Stadium this afternoon. Up they go, Criddle. Brings it down to his feet. He's able to keep it in his vicinity. Bartolo is pushed in the back, one would think. Umpire says no one's getting any prior opportunity here, fellas. And we'll throw it up once again. So umpire Bennett comes in to relieve the pressure. Players setting themselves. Here he is again. The youngster in Criddle. He knocks it down, straight down the throat of a teammate who plays on now. We liked his game a couple of weeks ago. And Luke Kenny got best on ground up at Northampton. But he's limps away from that passage of play. Let's see if he's okay. A free kick going the way of Forrester, Captain Courageous, into the full forward area. And a nice mark taken by Heberley. Arms up into the air, had only eyes for the ball, and now will have a shot on goal. So the Heberley brothers, as we've mentioned, Glenn, have been a big boost for Towns since coming into the lineup this year. And now Gus Heberley will have a shot on goal. That was a nice strong mark. So you've got Heberley and Galen Parsons in the forward line.
Yes, pretty handy, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got good hands on them, those two fellas. And now Heberley will shoot from about 35 to 40 metres. It looks good off the boot. It's straight through the middle. And that is another goal. Towns have started the second term for Melissa Price in fine fashion. They go to 4 goals 3. 27, leading Northampton 1-3-8. So Northampton, Glenn, at the moment, they're behind the 8 ball.
They certainly are. And the premiership players from Towns from 1976 would be enjoying what they've seen, because Jalen Parsons and Gus Heberley have quickly combined in the opening 5 minutes of this term. This scoreboard reads for total workwear this afternoon. Towns a 4-3-27. Northampton a 1-2-8. And this game could quickly slip away from Northampton's grasp. We don't generally see Towns as a free-flowing game, but at the moment they look like they have got very, very good avenues to goal.
Well, I talked about it last week, then, when they didn't have a proper forward. They tried to bottle the ball up, and now they've got one. They feel confident enough to put it up in that forward 50, don't they?
Northampton quickly out of the centre, gives the way of Kieran Harris. Harris shoots towards goal, and a good mark taken back there by Grady Tomilsey. And Tomilsey will shoot on goal from point-blank range. So Northampton will be able to get that one back very, very quickly. So good bit of play from Kieran Harris. As I said,
smarted Bo Walker on that
clearly
occasion, didn't
one
he?
of the better players for Northampton so far this afternoon. And we know Grady Tomilsey, a class player at his time. And Grady will shoot on goal from 10 metres out. And he goes back. The premiership coach of the Northampton side, when they last had success, he gets it through the goals. And on the total workwear scoreboard, a much-needed goal to Northampton. Towns are still 4-3-27. They lead Northampton 2-2-14.
So Northampton quickly stemming the flow. It was bleeding a little bit for them at one stage there early in the term. And they've decided they need to do something about it. And as you said, the nice kick into the full forward area was one that was just right for one. Grady Tomilsey took a nice mark on the ground, incidentally, and finished with a nice goal. So the scoreboard ticks over. 14 plays 27, still in arrears, Northampton. And got an interesting game on our hands here this afternoon, because if Towns can lock this game away, Glenn, they still will perhaps figure in finals at this stage, Glenn.
As we quickly go around the grounds with thanks to Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton and the City of Greater Geraldton. Chapman Valley away to a flyer at quarter time. Chapman Valley 10 goals 3, 63 lead. Mullawar no score.
Ball back up in the middle now, goes away. I think it's Bonnie that's knocked it down. In fact, the player that did that on that occasion knocked it down the throat of his teammate, went straight to ground, and Forrester, he doesn't waste any time. He tried to run away with the ball, but the whistle had gone. It's Caddy who has the free kick. Caddy now. Leon Jones Jr. is a player that his name eluded me earlier. He's in the ruck as well, Glenn, so he's a pretty versatile player.
He can do anything. As Jared Marquis told us this morning, they need 3 of him, but I've been saying that all year.
I think any side would like 3 of him, as Caleb Sewell sends it to the outer side for the Bulldogs, and it comes off hands and over the boundary. One of the biggest grounds in the competition, one of the biggest grounds in the country, indeed, is WA Country Builders Stadium. They tell us Hands Oval is pretty big down in Bunbury now. It's good interesting to get dimensions of both grounds and see which is the bigger, Glenn. I'd be interested in that. As the ball goes down the middle now for Towns, but Northampton trying to keep it in their keeping. Well, Towns kicking toward the Northampton, I should say, the Wanthala end in this particular term. The breeze is gusty and it's blowing across the ground, directly across the ground. So that indicates weather is on its way out there in the ocean. Of course, we have a big front that's crossing the state, Glenn, one of the biggest you've probably seen for a while.
Yeah, very nice, wasn't it? A lot of people on coastal areas got plenty of rain, and things are setting them up. Spoke with Damien Harris a few moments ago, and he's very happy. A Binu farmer, he said things are looking lovely up there, but he had only had about 3 or 4 mil overnight, unlike what we had yesterday and the day before. So, although the rain is good, it does fade away a little bit as you go further north and further east. Ball now with the Northampton player shooting on goal from 45 metres on a 45-degree angle. So we'll see the player in Robert Jansen. He's been a useful player this afternoon.
He's a big man.
Puts it on his left boot. Ball won't make the distance. Pack into the air. Well, there's only one man in the air. That was Jake Criddle, and he's taken a good mark. In fact, it's Kieran Harris. Kieran Harris has taken a very good mark. So
yeah, it was a good mark indeed. He got right up into the air. It was a bit of a pack mark.
Yeah, he's not a big man, not as big as Jake, but he certainly got himself into the air. So Kieran Harris continues on his merry way and gets his first goal of the afternoon. And Northampton are back in town on the Total Workwear scoreboard. Northampton go to 3-2, which is 20, and they trail Towns 4-3. 27. So we've got a 7-point ball game, the same as it was we started this quarter, this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the federal member for Durack.
Kieran Harris, I think he was a premiership player for Northampton, was he not, Glenn? I think
he would have been,
the premiership side.
Yes.
So he's been around for a little while now, and that was a nice mark and finished off with a nice goal. So we've got the Quinella, and ensures that his side crawls closer to their opponents. There's only 7 points in it here as we head to the middle stages of the second term, brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Some more back in the middle now, players setting themselves. A reasonable crowd in attendance, as I've mentioned. You can hear them all around us. And members of the 1976 Premiership side joining the fray. The ball coming out of the middle now, off the boot of Northampton. But his Towns to do the better on this occasion. Off the half-back flank, the ball goes forward now from McGregor. Nice mark is taken by Faithful. Faithful now. He's looking for Sandy, but doesn't meet the intended target. Sandy almost runs onto the ball, misses the bounce though, off the half-back line, goes the way now of the Northampton player and Jared Woodcock. He sends it down the wing. Bit of a pack develops, no one can get possession, and the umpire comes in to throw it up once again. Up they go, and up into the air goes the player in Leon Jones, but he wasn't able to get a mid on it. The ball goes to ground. It's picked up now by this player, Jay O'Brien. Nice little chip kick. He's looking for Hebley. Hebley fell over in the final stanza. Goes to ground, and running onto it is Caddy, though, for the Rams. He gets it to Teakle. Teakle's got a couple to beat. He shoves him off, tries to put it onto his boot. Goes back the way of Hebley. Hebley is caught up in all the fuss and brought to ground. He can't get away with it, and it is Teakle that puts on a vice-like tackle. And the ball will be thrown up right in front of our broadcast position for Radio Mama.
Umpire Bryce puts the ball into the air, pack around the ball. Players going in fiercely. Jamie Williams on that occasion. The umpires have given back to me again on another throw-up. We're in the middle stages of this second term, and Will Faithful and Jamie Williams getting around each other. Ball comes the way of Caddy. Caddy read it well, gets it forward, looking up there, but Jake Chapman's there for Towns. In goes the Towns player, and Aiton Mason. Players of both sides. On his left boot, running into an open goal, slammed it through and made something out of nothing. Noah Ugle, a class act. And on the Total Workwear scoreboard, Towns back in control. 5-3, 33. They lead Northampton 3-2, 20.
Nothing better than a seesawing affair, and that's what we're getting here this afternoon on Drennan O'Malley Game Day. We'll be enjoying the broadcast. And this quarter, as I've mentioned, is brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And Ugle scoring a nice goal there. And putting Towns' assertion back in place. They asserting themselves again, I should say, to hold a slender lead. They are 6-3, and they lead Northampton 3-2. 13, nearly 14 minutes gone. This the second quarter. So there's a bit of weather over the back there. We can see. Will it hit the turf before we're out this afternoon? The ball going the way of Kieran Harris once again. Scored a nice goal earlier. Puts it onto his boot as he's dragged to the deck. Going to ground now. Well, trying to run onto it is a player there. And that's one of the Bonnies, but there's Hebley. Yeah, Hebley or a Bonnie in Towns at the moment. There's quite a few of them. But it's Towns that, I should say, that's Northampton that do the better, and they go off the half-back line. But it was a bit at half-forward line, I should say. Mark wasn't taken, goes to ground. Towns working hard to ensure that the ball doesn't go too far, but the umpire says no one could do anything with it there, fellas. We'll throw it up once again. Just inside the forward 50 now for Northampton, kicking toward the golf club end or southern end of WA Country Builders Stadium, but Towns defenders do well to get it out to the Floors Road side. Continues to stay on that trajectory at the moment. The ball going the way of a player that moved it forward on that occasion in Hebley. He tries to get into the half-forward area, but the defence for Towns doing, I should say, Northampton doing well on this occasion, coming inboard. Nice mark taken by Bortolo. Good bit part player is Bortolo, another premiership player for Northampton. He gets tackled, gets it away, bounces in front of a teammate, and here comes big fella in Teakle. Straight through the middle, he bursts. He tries to get it to a teammate. Nice little cute handball. It doesn't meet the intended target, but Northampton continue to take it forward. They take it outside the centre square, just below the scoreboard. It goes away now of Caddy onto his boot. He's getting leather poisoning so far this afternoon. Gets it to a teammate off a pack. He rides the pack, puts it onto his boot into space. There's Tomaldy again, the dangerous Tomaldy, but he's quickly brought to ground. He couldn't get around, but he's tackled high, as you heard by my co-commentator, Glenn Barndon. And now he will have a shot on goal. Grady Tomaldy scored the last goal for Northampton, a little bit further out on this occasion.
And Grady's pretty clever. I think he drew that free kick. He had it. He knew what he was doing, of course. So Grady shooting on goal from 50 metres out. It'll be a long kick from here. There goes his effort. Looks pretty good off the boot.
It's a good one.
Ball will drop short. Off hands, a minus score, but a good effort there. And on the total workwear scoreboard, Northampton go to 3 goals, 3-21. They trail Towns 5 goals, 3-33. Time ticking by in the second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. We played 16 minutes. Towns to bring the ball out of the defensive zone. Sun is shining. Beautiful conditions for footy. Been a few showers around earlier this morning, but nothing to worry about. The ground is still pretty good nick as DeLacy gets the ball out towards the Floors Road side of the ground, looking just below the scoreboard. And a Northampton player puts a good tackle on the Towns player with the ball. And there'll be another throw-up. Umpires this afternoon with thanks to Sandra Carr, MLA. The GNFL umpires are Theo Bennett, Darren Bryce and Paul Brown, who puts the ball into the air now.
She's upstairs, Glenn. She's an MLC, but still doing the job in Perth for us, that's for sure, is Sandra Carr. The ball going on the far side now. No one can take the mark over the back of the pack. It goes away of Sandy. A new inclusion into the Bulldogs lineup. Goes one way, then the other, and comes back the way of Bonnie. Bonnie now, below the windsock. On the Floors Road side of the ground. The breeze is not a factor because it's going directly across, so not favouring any side this afternoon. The ball drops short just in front of the forward 50. Towns still have it in their possessions. A mark to Parsons here would be good. He's got someone to beat on this occasion. 2 to beat, 3 to beat, but he's still working hard. But the defence for Northampton win out in the end as they get it to the outer side and down the Floors Road side of the ground, just beside the WA Country Builders Stadium sign. It hits the white line and goes over the boundary.
So there's been plenty of work for the people out there. A lot of work done by the boundary umpires because the breeze blowing directly across the ground from the club road side, blowing across to the outer. Ball comes back into play. Once again, Towns do well through Robert Bonnie. Picked up by Northampton, however, and that's Callum Teakle working hard. Gets it up the ground. Looking up there for Cole Solanovic. He gets it towards the boundary line, but the boundary line is in play, and the boundary umpire will throw the ball back in just below the total workwear scoreboard here at Towns, Wonthella Oval. And with 18.5 minutes gone, Towns are 5-3-33. They lead Northampton 3-3-21. This quarter won't be a long one either. Quarter number one went for about 23.5 minutes. Ball comes back into play, comes the way of Cam Holmes. Northampton welcome his experience back into the defence line. Up there goes Cameron Holmes, kicks it towards half forward. Towns have the numbers. Do they have the height? Whistle on play. A Towns player was interfered with, or if he didn't, he marked the mark. That was Beau Walker. Beau Walker comes across the ground, finds Drew McGregor, another one of the on-field leaders for the Bulldogs. He finds Leon Jones. Leon Jones on half-back. Waits for Drew McGregor to run past. McGregor kicks the ball forward. Ball running free. But once again, Cam Holmes can use his body, use his strength, grabs the ball, kicks it forward, and he's picked out Aiden Bartolo. Aiden Bartolo plays on quickly, finds Jamie Williams. Jamie Williams on half forward, kicks the ball around the corner, looking up there towards the 50-metre line. Ball running through, but Beau Walker stands his ground, and Beau Walker takes his second good mark in as many minutes here in our match of the day for Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day.
Steadfast in defence is Walker. One of the senior players, of course. He's the coach of the Bulldogs for season 2026. Bartolo at the bottom of that pack is dealt with when he gets rid of the ball, so the ball will come back now. Free kick down the line, goes away with Williams. Williams kicks it inside the corridor, but it's only Towns there. The ball is coming back. So I thought the umpire played advantage, but the ball will come back to Bartolo. So he was crudely dealt with when he got rid of the ball on that occasion. So Bartolo not far from the dugout for Towns. As I said, a player played the premiership for the Rams a couple of years ago. Nice short kick. He's looking for the player there to take the mark. Couldn't do so. Coming back out now. Towns have the ball through the young Noah Middleton. The helmeted Middleton sends it into the half-forward area. Trying to run onto it on this occasion is Noah Ugle. He goes one way, then the other. He takes possession. He tries to give it away, but he coughs it up in the end. Goes away with Woodcock. He puts it onto his boot for Northampton. Tries to give it to Caddy. Caddy loses possession. Goes back the way of Towns now. Boot into the half-forward area. A nice mark is taken by Bonnie. He turns around and he slots it through for another goal for Northampton. That was a good goal there by the player there in Raymond Bonnie.
So Raymond Bonnie puts the icing on the cake as we head towards time on, or into time on now. And Raymond Bonnie finished it off. A good bit of play from Towns. And every time Northampton look to do something, they break down across the midfield and going forward. And Raymond Bonnie, as Peter mentioned, finished it off beautifully. And they're going to go to the half-time break with a pretty handy lead in the context of this game. On the total workwear scoreboard, Towns are 6 goals, 3, 39. And Northampton are 3-3-21. So in this quarter, Northampton have added 2 goals, 1. And Towns have added 4 goals straight. And the importance of being efficient in front of goals. And Bonnie was, there's no doubt about that. Ball back in the centre. The big fellas go at it. Ball comes to the ground. Jake Criddle for Northampton kicks it up forward. Goes the way now of Cohen Fletcher. Fletcher kicks it towards full forward.
Nice mark.
And finds Grady Tomedy. And Grady Tomedy is 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And Grady's kicked one this afternoon.
See, him and Walker having a good battle today.
They are. So the opportunity for Grady Tomedy to get another goal. And a much-needed one, and keep the score within reach for the Northampton side. Grady Tomedy kicking to the golf club end, breeze blowing across his boot. There goes Tomedy's kick, looks pretty good. Straight through the centre, Tomedy's got his second. And on the total workwear scoreboard, Northampton now go to 4 goals, 3, 27. They trail Town 6-3-39. So 39-27 in favour of the Bulldogs in the dying stages of this first half.
Ball coming back to the middle. The last goal scored by Grady Tomety. Obviously one of his best, his side's best this afternoon. He's kicked a few goals and kept them in contention, that's for sure. As I said, got a great tussle on his hands with Beau Walker, who is one of the important players, acting as a rudder somewhat for the Town side there in defence. Heading toward the half-time break, the big break here on a special day for the Towns Football Club, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1976 Grand Final Premiership side. We've got members of the side here today, and they'll celebrate tonight here at the club rooms. All going the way of Caddy out of that passage of play into the half-forward area. They've got their tails up again, have the Rams. All going to the outer side, running onto it is Luke Burns. He doesn't get to it. The Towns defender does better, sends it toward the boundary, and it bounces over the white line. And the far expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium. Now the breeze has continued, Glenn, to come from that from the westerly direction. It's moved a bit south at this stage, so we'd say perhaps favouring the Wanthella end slightly. Ball coming in now, players setting themselves from the Falls Road side. Towns do the better. Off the boot it comes into the half-forward area. Up to the air goes Ugle. He takes the mark, gets it to a teammate. He can set something up. He's Feldman gets rid of it, but there's Jaden Parsons. Gee, all too easy, Glenn. It was almost Talix to him somewhat, that passage of that kick, that passage of play, and he easily accommodated. So Jaden Parsons, he's kicked 2 so far this afternoon. Going for number 3 on a slight angle now. But I think he's got the breeze not affecting him too much, one would think. Let's see what he can do. It does, because he puts it straight into the breeze and it holds up. But a nice mark is taken in defence, and they get out of jail here to Northampton.
So Northampton defence go out wide. A good bit of play there for the Northampton player who read it well in Lockie Teagle. He's been good this afternoon. Gets it up the ground to Jake Criddle. Criddle gets it up towards centre wing on the outer side as we go around the grounds and tell you out there at GBSC Sports Park. Brigades are 4 goals, 2-26. Railways are 2 goals, 1-13. And Graham Saturio, he's coming to the footy today as well. And he's sitting on the lounge enjoying footy with our good friend in Glenn Schofield this afternoon. So good luck to you, gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying the footy there. And look forward to seeing you a little bit later on, Graham, at the footy at Towns as the ball comes back into play. Ball comes the way of Northampton again, just in front of the scoreboard on the outer side. Northampton player throws boot the ball. Luke Canny is that player. Ball goes towards the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw in deep in the pocket. So this game ticking by. 25 and a half minutes gone in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the federal member for Toorak. And 6 goals, 3-39 to Northampton, 4-3-27 in favour of the Towns Bulldog. Kieran Harris gets a handball out to Canny, and Canny gets the ball forward. Caddy, that is, gets the ball forward, and he's picked out the young player there.
Already had 2 shots on goal, Glenn, this fella.
Yes. So it's young Cole Selinovic. So Cole Selinovic, a much-needed kick on goal from 40 metres. It'll drop short again, and that's the place to be this afternoon. Northampton players should have been there. But a good bit of play there from the defender there for Towns, who got the ball out of the danger zone. And Towns have the ball on the outer side now. Towns kick the ball forward, but Northampton in best position now. Ball running free, very close to the boundary line. And the ball will be very much thrown in and waiting for the ball to return as umpire Brown goes over and will throw the ball up.
Ever so close to the big break here at WA Country Builders Stadium, one would think, as it comes in now. It's knocked up into the air, comes off a Northampton boot. But just as I announce it, they reached for the siren, the button, to announce that it is half-time in our Drennan O'Malley game day. We do have a game on our hands here this afternoon. And at half-time, it is Towns, the home side, 6-3-39, leading Northampton 4-3-27. And you are listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football.
Big lift, old roads, we've been tearing up since way back when. These wheels are innocent. New hits, new seats, no hit story, and you just can't fake that. So let's change that, girl. Let's go put some miles.
Our name is derived from the Greek prefix, macro, large. From the day we were born, this has been a promise for the future. We have grown through dedication, sweat, self-denial, faithful to our mission of being on the side of those who put themselves on the line. Through our name, we celebrate the greatness of those who believe there are no obstacles higher than their dreams. The courage to get back up after falling. The obstinacy of believing until the end. These are the values embedded in our logo. The Macron Hero. It's a celebration of sacrifice and tenacity. Up until your personal victory. Until your arms are in the sky. Become your own hero.
The relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and the price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we can do. Footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
I do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only Lake Race either, it's right where all these outlets are all over the state. He's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colts Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs. And we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so I can't fault them. They've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. They walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship, being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there and that's part of us.
You could say, oh, I didn't treat you say this.
GNFL Match of the Day, thanks to Kerrily War MLA and the City of Greater Geraldton on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
And good afternoon. It's about to get the third quarter underway, the Drennan O'Malley Motors quarter. And we're coming live from Wonthalla Park this afternoon, WA Country Builders Stadium. And Towns, who lead by 12 points, look to get their lead increased as they quickly go forward. Go the way there of Ugle. Ugle tries to control the ball. Ball is held to him, and the umpires this afternoon for Sandra Carr, MLC. The GNFL umpires are Theo Bennett, Darren Bryce, and Paul Brown. Paul Brown puts the ball into the air. Ball comes the way of Leon Jones, who wins it to ground. Picked up now by Northampton player in Jamie Williams. Williams gets it up towards centre wing. Looking up there is Kieran Harris working hard to get the ball forward. Goes the way of a Northampton player in Brodie Atkinson. Has the ball held to him. And an interesting throw up to come in. Good crowd here at Wonthalla this afternoon, celebrating the 1976 grand final victory of Towns over Northampton by 4 points on that day back in 1976. We've played a minute in this quarter, and it is Towns 6-3-39 and Northampton a 4-3-20 today, with thanks to Kerrily War and the City of Greater Geraldton. We'll get to those scores shortly as the ball quickly goes forward to Northampton. goes the way of Northampton player. Has the ball held to him. That player is Cohen Fletcher. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. In other games out there at GBSC Sports Park, Brigades lead at half-time. 4-2-26 to Railways, 2 goals, 1-13. And up at Mullawar, Chapman Valley at half-time, 21 goals, 5, 131 lead Mullawar, 1 goal. As the ball's still in dispute on the outer side. In goes Drew Forrester, feeds a handball out, gets it to Jay O'Brien, and Towns go forward through Middleton.
Middleton on the far side, the wide expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium, sends it inboard and finds the talented Josh DeLacy. DeLacy looks at his options. He sends it further afield down the line and finds Middleton again, who ran onto one with the ball back just below the scoreboard, which sees his side leading 6-3 to 4-3 in the early stages of this quarter, brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors. Hello to Ron O'Malley. He'll be listening this afternoon. He'll be over at GBSC Sports Park, watching his beloved Railways take on Brigades in the replay of last year's grand final. Brigades have a slender lead at the moment. The score we had coming in. Ball on the half-back line now for Northampton. They kick along the Floors Road side of the ground. Up into the air they go. It's knocked down to the ground. Picked up on this occasion by Selinovic. And then the other players pulled out a free kick. I think he has. And the free kick is going the way of Towns. Drew Forrester racks up a few kicks, does Forrester, and he makes them. He earns them, that's for sure. Captain of the Towns side. The Bulldogs sends it into the full forward area. Towns don't get it on the first attempt, not on the second. Seem to botching it up at the moment as Northampton take advantage, put it onto their boot and send it back to the outer side and find the sanctuary of the boundary once again. Glenn, better players for mine in that second term for the Bulldogs were Parsons, Jones, McGregor. I think also Raymond Bonney, the Headley brothers, and Walker was pretty good too.
And looking at Northampton's better players and also contenders for the Skidders Restaurant Player of the Day, Tyler Caddy, Kieran Harris, Jake Criddle, Lockie Teagle, Callum Teagle, all working hard. And Northampton, nothing wrong with their endeavour. They are very, very good at the ball. They work hard, just not finishing off quite as well as Towns in the early stages of this contest. So the ball is held in and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up once again. So the ball goes up into the air this third quarter. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, 39 to Towns, 27 to Northampton. Same as it was at half-time. We've played almost 4 minutes in this third quarter. And Northampton are able to regroup. They get the ball forward, have it up on centre wing. Northampton player held while not in possession. That's the umpire has seen it. And Grady Tomedy is that player. So Grady Tomedy has the ball now. Gets the ball quickly up towards the half-forward line. Looking up there for some run from Sam Lawson. But the ball's turned over now as Towns have it through Drew McGregor. McGregor goes the way of Aiton Mason. Aiton Mason on half-back, waiting for some movement. Goes looking for Drew McGregor again. Drew McGregor getting chased by Callum Teagle. Drew McGregor gets the ball away. Kick goes forward and goes the way there of DeLacy. Josh DeLacy with the ball just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here at WA Country Builders Stadium. Ball goes forward and the ball goes up the ground and the free kick and a 50-metre penalty, and the ball will go from outside the 50 way up and towards the teeth of goals. And
was
the
that
player
through
with
something
the ball
that happened in front of DeLacy back here, Glenn? I think.
Yes. So, yeah, we'd taken our eyes off what was behind the play, but the umpire hadn't. And so the free kick goes up the ground, goes the way of the player there, and Gus Hebley. Gus Hebley kicks
there
it
is
forward.
again, Parsons.
Jalen Parsons, he's kicked 2 goals this afternoon.
Yeah, a deep angle now, Glenn. He's kicking toward the big sticks at the golf club end. So the breeze right at his back from where he's kicking this one. So let's see what he can do. A check side kick would do it, I would think, from the talented Parsons. Let's see what he can do. Jalen Parsons, I think he's going for goal number 3. He's done what I've suggested, and it's worked a treat. Jalen Parsons has scored his 3rd goal of the afternoon, and Towns have got up the ante in the early stages of the 3rd term.
Yes, so Jalen Parsons, as you said, Peter, very, very good goal in these conditions. Breeze blowing across his body, and Jalen Parsons gets his 3rd of the afternoon. Other goal scorers for Towns to this point, Jay O'Brien has 1, Gus Heberley has 1, Noah Ugle 1, and Raymond Bonney 1. Goal scorers for the Northampton side, Grady Tomedy has 2, Kieran Harris has 1, and Sam Lawson has one as we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. Out at GBSC Sports Park at half-time, Brigades 4-2-26, lead Railways 2-1-13. At half-time out there at Mullawar, Chapman Valley 21 goals 5, 131, lead Mullawar 1 goal straight 6.
Jones in the ruck for Towns, knocks it down, a bit of a pack develops. It all goes forward though for Northampton. The ball is with this player, Samuel Lawson, getting a few kicks this afternoon. He sends it out to Hebley. I should say the player there is not Hebley, it's Augusto, and Spalding. He sends it into the half-forward area. Beautiful lace-out kick. It's marked by Tomaldi. He spins around. Yeah, that was a good kick by Tomaldi. Almost a repeat of the kick by Jalen Parsons, but the umpire is bringing it back. Geez, Len, I don't understand things like that. It's to the advantage of the team. And you'd think that you'd allow it to stand, wouldn't you? But anyway, we'll see what happens here. They elected... I thought they brought in a rule, if a player elects to play on, it's his decision. And
I think these new rules, you have to kick over the mark. And we saw it... Shouldn't have to, but he had called time off, perhaps.
Yeah,
we saw it last night in the game.
It just doesn't seem to go with the flow
of the
game,
night before, I should say, on AFL, where the player didn't kick around the...
Let's see if he can do it again. Does he repeat it again? He does. He's able to do it twice in a row. That is pretty good for his side, Northampton. And there he is, Grady Tomaldi. I think that's goal number 3 for him too, Glenn.
It is. It's the third goal, so Grady's having a good game. But, yes, he had to get first goal. He had to do it again. So, a good effort to Grady and a good goal to him. So, Northampton keep in touch. You can't say they ever let their guard down. So, Grady's now got 3. And on the scoreboard for total workwear, it is Towns 7-3-45 to Northampton 5-3-33. So, a good scoreline there for Towns, but Northampton not far away.
Ball back in the middle now. Last goal scored by Grady Tomaldi, a former coach who was the coach of the last premiership side for Northampton. Certainly is a talented player, and he certainly showed that. He scored that goal for the Rams. Ball back in the middle, and the Rams get out of the middle once again through onto his boot. He sends it into the half-forward area. Tiku tries to take the mark. Didn't know where the ball went. Over his back goes Bonnie, but Northampton judged the bounce better as they send it into the half-forward area. Can they sneak another goal here and get the early run on their opponents in Towns? Tomaldi runs near the ball. The crowd goes wild as the ball spills free again. The umpire lets the game roll on, eventually finds a free kick, and it will go the way of Northampton. So Northampton will now have another shot on goal. So
Brodie Atkinson.
He's a pretty good goal sneak, Brodie Atkinson. We saw him get a few goals a few weeks ago up there at Northampton. So Brodie Atkinson will shoot from about 20 metres with this one, kicking toward the Wamthala end. What's he done?
Offline.
He's botched it. Jeez, that was incredible. I think he was close enough, but as we said, the breeze coming across his face certainly put paid to that. But Northampton have certainly stepped it up, Glenn.
Yeah, they got a little bit of momentum now, and on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Towns are 7-3-45. Northampton are 5-4-34. This third term, the premiership quarter for Dredden O'Malley Motors on Dredden O'Malley Motors Game Day on Radio Mummy, a home of GNFL footy. Hope you're enjoying the footy this afternoon. Weather conditions overcast, cool, but pleasant conditions for footy. The ball comes back into play, goes the way of Towns and Robert Bonnie. Bonnie gets it out to McGregor, back to Bonnie. McGregor put the ball down, so the free kick will go the way of Northampton. So Northampton playing some good footy.
Yeah, they certainly got the run early in the third term, Glenn. And this little fella's certainly done his bit.
There goes the kick from Northampton. Big kick up towards the teeth of goal. But Towns stand their ground. And Towns out of trouble briefly. Goes the way from Drew Forrester. Comes up to Bidewell. Back to Forrester. Forrester kicks it up towards the centre of the ground. Goes the way now of Towns through the agency of Noah Ugle. Comes back in. Pressure. And umpire will come in. Umpire Bryce will come in and throw the ball up. So good intensity, both sides knowing the importance of this very important game.
Yeah, just 11 points in it, Glenn.
Still anybody's contest. Good game of footy. Goes the way of Rex Hebley. Ball slaps out. Goes the way now of a Towns player who has the ball held to him. That's Caleb Sewell. and umpire Bryce will come in and throw the ball up once again.
He throws it up once again just in front of our broadcast position. Peter Friends and Glenn Barton bring you all the action. Drennan O'Malley Game Day live from WA Country Builders Stadium. Also on filming footy as we see Sewell take the ball from outside that passage of play, puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. Running onto it is DeLacy. He can run through a couple of plays. He does pretty well. In fact, it's Headley. He didn't have his sonar on that occasion, Glenn, and misses all and sundry.
So it's an interesting contest, and the ball will be thrown out. Looking at the scoreline out there at GBSC Sports Park, Brigades 5-2, Railways 4-3, so a tight contest there out there at GBSC Sports Park. And it's a tight contest here as Northampton's Cam Holmes breaks through the centre, gets a handball forward, looking up there for Cohen Fletcher. He couldn't pick the ball up quickly enough. A pack develops, and once again the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. The Kia windsock still blowing directly across the ground, perhaps favouring the Wanthella end to just a fraction, but it's an awkward breeze for the players out there, with the breeze at a fair strength blowing across the ground. And a whistle on play once again.
I keep forgetting, Glenn, we've got a younger audience. Sonar was the precursor to, I think, when you're finding your position, what is it? When you're looking for somewhere, you're looking to go somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So that was the precursor to that, was Sonar. So it sort of helped you get some direction as the ball comes out of a passage of play there. And Northampton thought they had it all their own way.
As they have to come back.
Criddle come out of a pack, but the ball will come back again, as it has for most of this afternoon. Ball on the outer side now. Harris has it. He sends it further afield, up to the half-forward area. And the mark is taken on the far side. Can they send it in and set something up again? Playing with a bit of toe at the moment are the Rams. And it is Teakle who takes the mark, and he will have a shot on goal. A very tight angle, Teakle. You can come around it, all the youngsters do these days.
Brody Atkinson was the player that took the mark and brought the ball in.
GPS is what I was thinking of.
That's right.
Precursor to GPS.
Very good.
Had a bit of a mental blank. So he comes out as Teakle, kicking toward the Wanthella end. And he's on a very tight angle. He's kicking into the breeze, actually, to see what he can do. Callum Teakle.
Difficult shot.
Yes. Oh, he's done all right, I think. He's done very good.
Very good shot.
It's a very good. I tell you, these youngsters know how to do it. Another check side kick and another goal, but this time to Northampton. And they tick the scoreboard over a little more. They are now 6-4-40, and they trail Towns 7-3-45. It is 5 points the difference here on Drennan O'Malley Game Day.
That was a wonderful goal from Callum Teakle, kicking right into the teeth of goal.
Yeah, we thought Jalen Parsons was good, didn't we?
But that is a beautiful goal. And Callum Teagle's worked hard throughout the day, and Northampton have come back full of fire after half-time. So it's a 5-point margin, one of the closest margins of the day, because Towns led by 7 points at quarter time. They led by 12 points at half-time, and now they lead by 5 points. And we've played 14 minutes in this third term, with thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors, the premiership quarter, and Northampton have come to play. So the game on. Ball comes in from the throw-up, pack around the ball. Umpire has to come in and throw it up again. So the umpire Theo Bennett puts the ball into the air. Jay Criddle gets the best of it, knocks it to ground, but it's rowed well by Towns. Towns player took a fraction too long and turns the ball over. So the wicket goes the way of Tyler Caddy. Caddy goes wide, looking out there for Aidan Bartolo on centre wing. Bartolo kicks it forward, looking up there for the hard-running player there who can't control it. Can Towns put a nail in it and hold it to ground? They try. Umpire says you hold it, and held it in. And a free kick will go the way of Northampton. So the ball goes the way now of Aidan Bartolo. Bartolo with the ball, working hard. There goes his kick, up towards the teeth of goal. But once again, Towns stand firm, and a good mark taken there by the Towns defender. And Bonnie is that player.
Bonnie now kicks it back to whence it came, on the far side, the Floors Road side of WA Country Builders Stadium. Up in the air they go. Comes off the mitts of a Towns player, going to ground. It's picked up by O'Brien. He tries to get it to a teammate. Has to rove his own ball in the end, but puts it into a bit of a valley, and it's picked up now by Towns, and they're able to move forward. Going the way now of Sandy. Sandy misses what he should have got, but goes back the way of Towns once again. In fact, the player they're running onto is Adam Mason. He finds Bonnie now. Bonnie has a bit of room, and he sees on the lead Jalen Parsons, and over the back. That was a great move by Jalen Parsons. The player in front of him did everything he needed to spoil it, and that, of course, was Max Lawson. But Jalen Parsons, too strong, too big on this occasion, took a nice mark, and will now have another shot on goal, going for goal number 4, and I reckon he'll nail this one.
He has. Jalen Parsons gets his 4th of the afternoon, and Towns steadied the ship with a good goal from Jalen Parsons. And on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard, Towns are now 8 goals 3, 51. The lead, Northampton 6-4, 40. So that is a 11-point margin. There was a 12-point margin at half-time. It's now an 11-point margin in favour of the Towns side. So a lot of work for Northampton. They've worked really hard in this quarter. They've kicked 2 goals, 1 in this quarter. And Towns have kicked 2 goals straight. So Northampton up by a point, but they haven't made a lot of headway after a good goal there from Jalen Parsons.
He certainly is the highest goal scorer this afternoon, and a goal sneak he certainly is, and a much-needed goal sneak for the Town side. We came to a game here last week, and I said really how things would change with Jalen Parsons put in the full-forward area, and it certainly has. Playing with a lot more confidence of the Town side as they lead, if it is only by a slender margin here this afternoon. Good game of footy we are witnessing here on WA Country Builders at WA Country Builders Stadium on Dredden O'Malley game day. The ball going forward by Harris. He's got a bit of it this afternoon, but it's quickly brought to ground. Mason gets it for Northampton and straight down the throat of this particular player, and that's Lockie Teakle. Lockie Teakle now has a bit of a cheer squad in the crowd. He sends it further afield, looking for the player there in Criddle. It's slapped away from him. It goes further afield for Northampton. Can they keep it in the forward 50? Criddle does well to get the ball pushed forward, but a bit of a pack now develops. There'll be a ball up inside the forward 50 for Northampton. So time ticking away in this quarter. It is 18 minutes gone. This quarter seems to have gone pretty fast, Glenn, because there's a lot of action and end-to-end footy. The ball going forward now. Northampton, Towns head toward the boundary, but Northampton try and keep it in. It gets off a Towns boot and goes further afield. They have it on the Floors Road side to the Bulldogs under the WA Country Builders sign. Painted by one Warren Kalazic, he tells me. Always lonesome. The ball coming inboard goes away now of Jay O'Brien. Further afield, can they run onto it, do something? Bonnie certainly can. He sends it inside the forward 50, but he's out of the full. Yeah, because he was tackled when he was doing so. He's pushed off the ball, and the ball goes ski-whiffed. And as Glenn indicated, it goes over the fence, and it's out on the full.
Yes, so Northampton bring the ball back in through Cam Holmes, heading towards time on in the Premiership quarter. It's almost an equal quarter, this one. A 0-0 draw in soccer terms, as we see Northampton get the ball out of defence. Ball comes the way now, Jackson Eastoff. Good bit of play from Lawson to get it to him. Centres the ball, looking there for Gus Spalding. He brings it out, goes the way of Aidan Bartolo. He goes the way of JB Williams. Williams gets it towards a Towns player. That Towns player has the ball held to him, and that's Aidan Mason. And the umpire will throw the ball up. He had no prior opportunity. We're back in the centre of the ground, and we're heading towards time on in this third quarter. Goes the way of Drew Forrester. Forrester's ball goes forward. It gets a bounce, awkward for his teammates. Picked up by Northampton player in Lockie Teakle, who's been good this afternoon, as he always is. Kicks it forward, looking up there for some run. Ball comes out, comes the way of Williams. He centres the ball, goes the way now of a Northampton player who sends it towards full forward. But the ball is cut off by the defence of the Towns side. So Towns steady the ship. And the Towns player does well there. James Simmons goes out wide, looking out there for the hard-running Drew Forrester. But the ball is out of bounds, and we're in the time on in this third quarter. The free kick will go the way of Northampton's Jamie Williams. And Northampton would love a goal prior to three-quarter time to keep them very much in this contest.
Well, they're certainly hanging on in there at the moment as Jamie Williams comes in. And he finds the comfortable arms of Samuel Lawson. Lawson now sends it inside the forward 50. Up they go. Oh, jeez. That was almost a beautiful mark by two players, but the ball went straight between them and hit the deck. The ball goes to ground. It was not a Towns or a Northampton mark, but Bonnie has it, and he sends it into space, and there's Hebley. Hebley's got a bit of time. He'll run like the wind right in front of our broadcast position. He'll send it into the half-forward area, running down the ground as Parsons. He's come right down to get this, but Hebley says, give it to me. Parsons, get back to your position because I'm coming around. Hebley comes down into the half-forward area. He's found Sandy right on the boundary. Sandy slips over in the final analysis. He tries to handball it forward, but there's only Northampton to mop it up. Northampton do so. It comes off the ground off a Northampton kick, and that player doing so is Selinovic. Selinovic has had a few kicks this afternoon. He slows things down somewhat as the ball comes back in front of our broadcast position, and the whistle does sound, and a free kick has gone the way of Northampton. So Northampton off the half-back flank now. Another goal here would be interesting as it comes down the wing in front of our broadcast position. Going the way now of Colin Fletcher. Fletcher quickly gets it to a teammate. I didn't think that was 15 metres, but the umpire knows better than me. Jansen collects the ball. He puts a big kick inside the forward 50. Towns' defence has really been pressured this afternoon, put to the test as the ball goes away of Northampton once again. And there he is again, Harris, the junkyard dog. He moves in. He goes one way then the other. He loses possession. The ball goes to ground, and players dive on top of each other and do a ball up just metres away from the Northampton goal.
Yes, time ticking by in this third quarter, the all-important premiership quarter, as umpire Bennett puts the ball into the air. Tico wins it to ground. Northampton desperate for a goal. They're only 20 metres away from the goal. Umpire Bennett has to come in and throw the ball up. 40 plays 51 in favour of Towns on the Chemist Warehouse scoreboard. Towns are 8-3. 51. Northampton 6 goals 4. Ball comes back in. Comes back towards Grady Tomedy. Tomedy gets tackled and the umpire says play on. It comes back into play. Northampton trying to get the ball forward. Ball spills out, picked up by Northampton's Lockie Teagle. Ball won't be 15 metres. Off the boot, picked up by Walker. He slaps it out. Advantage rule now pays. No advantage, so it'll come back. So that goes back, and the player there is Bo Walker. Relieving the pressure. Goes with a short pass. Finds his teammate there. And that player is Robert Bonney. Bonney goes out wide. Looking out there for Mason. Mason plays on quickly, finds a teammate there with the ball in DeLacy. DeLacy gets it forward, finds Graham Sandy in the centre of the ground. So Towns, Sledell, and a good bit of play there, but the ball's turned over. Jake Criddle grabs it, kicks it back to Winston Kane. Looking there for the hard-running Kieran Harris. He'll pick it up, gets it out to a teammate. That teammate is Angus Reynolds, but Angus Reynolds is tackled, and he'll pay the penalty, and a free kick goes the way of Towns. A good tackle put on him, and Graham Sandy is that player who gets the free kick.
Sandy gets it away now to Bonney. Bonney sizing up his options. Geez, he decided to change his mind. Gee, he lost possession. This could pay dearly. Goes away of Teakle. Into space he goes. He finds his teammate there in Grady Tomilty. He can't take the mark. That's just unbelievable. The ball luckily goes back the way of the defenders for Towns. Finds the safe hands now of McGregor. McGregor down the line. He finds Shiozaki marking in front of the big grandstand here at WA Country Builders Stadium. The Podge Jackson grandstand. He sends it further afield. He's knocked off the ball as the siren sounds on what has been an entertaining quarter. They call it the Premiership quarter. Northampton probably didn't take their opportunities enough in that quarter because Towns still have almost the same lead that they had at half-time. Just a point down from that, and it is Towns 8-3-51. They lead Northampton 6-4-40. You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
Our name is derived from the Greek prefix, macro, large. From the day we were born, this has been a promise for the future. We have grown through dedication, sweat, self-denial, faithful to our mission of being on the side of those who put themselves on the line. Through our name, we celebrate the greatness of those who believe there are no obstacles higher than their dreams. The courage to get back up after falling. The obstinacy of believing until the end. These are the values embedded in our logo. The Macron Hero. It's a celebration of sacrifice and tenacity. Up until your personal victory, until your arms are in the sky. Become your own hero.
And Parsons.
As we're underway in this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants, 3 Northampton players, 1 Towns player, and as you'd expect, Northampton have the win. They get it up the forwards, half forward. Ball taken there by the young Northampton player in Cole Selenovic. He gets it towards full forward, but nobody home on this occasion to the Rams. Grady is outgunned by Bo Walker from Towns. He plays on quickly, gets it up towards the half back line, and once again the ball goes forward for Towns, goes the way of Drew Forrester. Rex Hebley runs past and receives it after kicking it to him, but Rex is very close to the boundary line, but luck's a fortune. And the ball goes out of bounds, and the ball will be brought back in by Northampton. So Northampton with the ball.
There's the ball coming in now.
Northampton with the lasso rule.
They are the
have
lasso
the ball.
rule.
So Northampton to bring the ball back in. Jackson Eastoff's that player. Kicks it up towards centre wing, looking up there for Tyler Caddy. In goes Drew Forrester. Caddy holds his ground, holds his feet. Picked up there by Angus Reynolds. Kicks it towards full forward. Goal now to Northampton to be interesting. But once again, Towns are steady in a crisis. And Jake Chapman relieves the pressure with a big long handball. Looking out there for Noah Middleton.
Noah Middleton is quickly brought to ground. He didn't see it coming, and he certainly was nailed pretty hard. Northampton have it on the far side now. See, they've picked up where they left off in that term. Can they eclipse their rivals in this particular quarter? That kick certainly won't be part of that eclipsing as the ball comes away of Walker. Walker, he goes laterally now under the scoreboard, which sees his side having a slender lead of some 11 points, and it was that at three-quarter time. The ball with DeLacy. DeLacy, we've talked him up, but probably hasn't figured as much as possibly he could have this afternoon to this point, as he kicks it down the wing and finds the sanctuary of the boundary. So
the lasso rule, so it'll be brought back in by Northampton.
You like saying that, don't you, Glenn?
Yeah, I like to do the I like to do it above the head. Yeah,
used to like Wrangler Jane and F Troop. Right. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah, it is a bit strange. It is a strange rule.
The ball coming in now from the far side. Northampton have it. And it's Woodcock. He sends it further afield, but it's Towns who take the mark. Where is it? And it looks like it's Jay O'Brien that gets the benefit of the umpire's doubt. He kicks to the outer side, finds Walker, who's come right down the ground. Slowing down the ship somewhat is the coach underneath the windsock, which hasn't changed much this afternoon. The breeze throwing almost directly across the ground. Not really favouring either end as he kicks it down the line now. Northampton working hard to defend as a errant kick by Towns comes inboard and finds a Northampton player. He thought all his Christmases had come at once. He takes the mark. He sends it down the ground. A nice mark is taken. That's Atkinson. Atkinson now. He sees his options and he goes around the player on the mark. Gee, it's errors on both sides as he finds Hebley. Hebley doesn't waste any time. He gets it across to McGregor. McGregor, one of the better players for Towns this afternoon, sees Parsons. He's got a couple to beat. He's not quick enough. And a free kick, I think, has gone the way of Towns. So that's interesting. I didn't see what happened there, but Parsons was late on the scene.
Late push.
Yeah, so they took the mark, Northampton, and then
I think he made it look pretty
somewhat.
good too.
Yeah. So now Jalen Parsons going for goal number 5, Glenn. Let's see what he can do.
Very good goal.
Pretty good. It's straight through the middle. Jalen Parsons is having a birthday.
He is. So he gets the first of the final quarter, and Towns would be pretty happy with that. So the margin stretches out to one of the biggest margins of the quarter. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. Three-quarter time out there at GBSC Sports Park. And it is a pretty interesting scoreline. And at three-quarter time, Brigades 5-5-35. Lead Railways 4-3-27. So a narrow game out there. 7 points the margin in favour of Brigades. And the final term is underway.
All was what was going to be expected in the clash, the replay of last year's grand final. So it'll be interesting to see who comes trumps up there this afternoon and who's going to further push Rovers, who sit comfortably on top of the premiership table. The ball coming out of a passage of play there, and the umpire says we'll throw it up once again. Early stages of the final term, only 5 minutes gone, and Northampton, they certainly have pushed Towns, but not on the scoreboard enough to get in front. Towns able to hold sway. Jalen Parsons scoring the last goal for the Bulldogs. Well, Glenn and I are very fortunate tonight, honoured to attend what will be a great function here, Glenn, the celebration for the 50-year celebration of the 1976 Grand Final.
Yes, that Graham was played at the recreation ground, and Northampton trailed by 4 points at every break, and they did at the end. They got in front, and then, as you mentioned earlier, Peter Swarbrick kicked a goal from 50 metres against the breeze, and a remarkable goal. No one would have expected him to kick it, and Towns got over the line with a much celebrated win. And it was an interesting scoreline. Northampton had a lot of scoring shots. They weren't very accurate on the day. Towns were, and they got the prize.
Well, Northampton are really stretching you here now, Glenn. Were Northampton minor premiers that year?
Well, I don't know. No, I'm not aware of that.
But they'd come off a successful couple of seasons without a premiership, hadn't they?
That's right. And the final score was quite interesting, Peter, because it was Towns 13-13-91. They defeated Northampton 11-21-87.
Bonnie, a nice mark in defence.
So there was some 33 scoring shots to 26, but Towns still won by 4 points.
Gee, that's incredible. They used to score a lot of goals in those days, and rightly so. Something that isn't happening out at GBC Sports Park this afternoon with, it looks like Brigades just with their fingernails in front.
Yes, very tight game there. And looking at the three-quarter time score from the game out at Mullawa, a lot of goals out there. At three-quarter time, Chapman Valley 25 goals, 14 to Mullawa 1 goal. So a big day out there for Chapman Valley, not a big day for Mullawa, which is disappointing because Mullawa have been on the receiving end of some big losses. This is the first time Chapman Valley have played Mullawa this year, whereas Rovers and Brigades have both played Mullawa twice, so they've been able to milk the percentages along the way.
What's it look like next week, the fixtures, Glenn?
Yeah, pretty interesting round next weekend, Peter. It's the last weekend of round before Country Week, of course. It is the Medak round. Towns host Rovers at WA Country Builders Stadium. That'll be our broadcast game of the day. Chapman Valley host Railways out at Mazzucchelli Oval, and Chapman Valley have now played Railways 3 times in the opening 11 rounds.
That's going to be a big game for the Valley, that one.
It is an important one because Railways have beaten them on both occasions. They've won very easily in the second occasion by about 68 points.
Especially if Brigades get the hop on Railways this afternoon.
Yes, and of course Chapman Valley got within 15 points in their first clash. Other games next weekend are also interesting. Brigades host Northampton out at GBSC Sports Park, and that'll be a good one. And Mullawa, well, they'll be looking forward to it. They'll be having a bye after a pretty tough day at the office today. And, of course, Country Week follows the following week.
And then we hit Indian Ocean Drive as we head south for what will be a hopefully an exciting Country Week campaign, and we're following the Colts, and we're going to be spending time at Scotch College, Glenn.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing the facilities there, and of course always nice to travel in Radio Mama's Lola and get a nice...
Lola's getting very excited about next weekend.
She enjoys the trip down every year, and it's good to get in the back and see Maddie drive us the right way there. Ball comes back into play now as Northampton is trying hard but still can't break the deadlock. They've had every opportunity, but just haven't been able to finish off this afternoon. Towns have had the edge in class right from the start, and they've only played 8.5 minutes. Still plenty of time.
Getting very dark here, Glenn.
If Northampton can find something.
Might have put the lights on soon.
It would be perhaps handy if they did. Ball comes back into play. Comes back to Northampton. Northampton slap boot the ball, and it goes forward there through Cohen Fletcher. He gets it up towards centre wing. Towns working hard. Very close to the boundary line. Ball still in play. Towns, Noah Middleton does well. Ball comes to ground. Northampton player stretching out. He's a bit tight and trying to break out of a cramp. Umpire will throw the ball up. Our umpires this afternoon have done a wonderful job for Sandra Carr, MLC. And the GNFL umpires this afternoon, Theo Bennett, Darren Bryce and Paul Brown, keeping a pretty entertaining game going and keeping it flowing. And there'll be another throw up right on the boundary line.
Things started to slow down a little bit, Glenn, as we get to the end of this game this afternoon. I think they really tested both sides tested themselves in the last term, didn't they?
They did. They gave everything, and as you say, they're tiring a little perhaps, and they're looking forward to the final siren. The cloud is covered, and this is the darkest it has been all day. Still plenty of time, of course, only 20 past 4, and we're only 9.5 minutes in this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
The ball about to be thrown in right under that scoreboard that gave us the time here this afternoon. 10 minutes gone, as Glenn said, in the final term. We're going toward the boundary once again. So the wide expanses of WA Country Builders Stadium don't serve broadcasters too well, because when it's over there, Glenn, it's pretty hard to identify some of the players.
Well, it's almost as far over there as it is from one end to the other, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's a very big ground indeed.
And the breeze has been blowing directly across the ground all day.
Yeah, so a nice mark taken in the forward area now by Sam Lawson. The big Lawson puts it onto his boot, but it's a handball, but he hands straight to the opposition. That player under pressure didn't believe his luck. Paul Wald's custodian sends it forward, but there's Jake Criddle. He's been serviceable again this afternoon. It's going to be a great player for the Northampton club, one would imagine. The ball coming in now goes the way of Northampton again. In straight down the corridor it goes. Grady Tomley comes out, can't take the mark. Towns do the better through Hebley. Hebley goes one way, then the other, gets a handball backward of the play and finds this player on his own. Jay O'Brien in front of the dugout for the Bulldogs. He puts it onto his boot. He's putting it in front of Bonnie. Can Bonnie run onto it? He does so. That's Raymond Bonnie. He's cleverly putting it in front of him, trying to run onto it. He sees Jalen Parsons. Jalen Parsons can't collect it, but he keeps the ball in his keeping, as does a good full forward, and takes it toward the boundary. So in Town's scoring zone once again. A goal here, Glenn, would think would be enough in this encounter.
Yes, I would think so. As you say, players of both sides have given it all, and they're pretty tired conveyances this afternoon after a very hard-fought contest, particularly that third contest. The tempo really lifted, and so did the pressure. Ball back into play. Jake Criddle does well, uses his body to good effect, gives it out to young Gus Spalding. Spalding puts it on his left boot, goes out wide, looking out there for Kieran Harris. Kieran Harris has been outstanding this afternoon. For this occasion, he's battling to pick it up, and he turns it over because Towns do. Towns get it on the boot of the player there in Forrester, gets it up along the boundary line. Ball very close to the boundary line, and the ball will eventually be brought back in, and Towns have it. There must have been a free kick up the ground. So the ball now with Towns. So Towns have it, looking for some opportunities. Towns have it about 70 metres from goal, just in front of the WA Country Builders Stadium sign. And we're waiting.
Just had some information come in from Victor Tanti, and I was correct with my questioning. Northampton won the 1976 minor premiership by, it says 52 points, 14-2 from Towns, 44 points, 11-5. Then Chapman Valley 40, 10 goals 6, and Mullawa 36-9-7. So Northampton winning the 1976 minor premiership there, Glenn.
Very good. Yes, they were a pretty formidable side. But sadly for Northampton, they lost 5 grand finals between 1965 right to 76. So they really struggled. They had some very good sides in the 60s and in the 70s, but they didn't always get a win on the board. They lost some tight ones.
Their 77 side under Alan Fairley was pretty good though, wasn't it?
Oh, very good side. But, like I said, in this game against Towns in 1976, Towns won with 26 scoring shots. Northampton had 33, and still Towns won by 4 points. So the importance of kicking goals is what it's all about. Ball comes back in, goes the way of Kieran Harris. Kieran Harris grabs the ball from half back.
Rain starting to fall here at the WA Country Builders Stadium.
Ball goes the way now of the Towns player, and a whistle on play as the rain, as Peter mentioned, starts to fall. The ball goes the way now of Callum Teakle. Callum Teakle plays on, but it's cut off, and a good bit of play taken by the Towns player there, Rex Hebley. Rex Hebley has to turn the ball over. Free kick goes the way of the player there, and Jake Criddle. So Jake Criddle is 45 metres out. Can he make a dent on the scoreboard? Lots of people very close to the issue there. So Jake Criddle with the ball. And Jake Criddle looking to get Northampton a little bit closer. They trail by 17 points. The ball off the side of the boot. Ball fades away. Kick was okay, but just lacked accuracy. Out of bounds on the full. So we've played 14 and a half minutes in this final term for GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And on the Total Workwear scoreboard, it is Towns 9-3, 57. Northampton 6-4, 40. Quickly going around the grounds. Three-quarter time up at Mullawa. Chapman Valley 25-14, 164. Lead Mullawa 1 goal straight. And a three-quarter time at GBSC Sports Park. 7 points the margin in favour of Brigades. Brigades 5-5, 35. Lead Railways 4-3, 27.
Yeah, still in the balance out there, and people will be interested to see the result of that encounter. Should Brigades come home, then the catch is thrown amongst the pigeons for the top 3 sides in the GNFL. As we see, 15 minutes gone in the final term here, and not many goals scored as Northampton in this drizzle send it further afield toward the end. That is the golf club end.
Only 2 points in and out at the GBSC Sports Park in favour of Brigades.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
7-6 plays 7-4.
The ball off the half-back line now as the rain begins to get heavier. We know that the front is crossing the coast. Ball coming across to the player there, moving forward down the line. He does pretty well on that occasion. The Towns custodian, talking about DeLacy. DeLacy finds the newcomer in Graham Sandy. He finds Bonnie eventually. Bonnie goes one way then the other, looking for Sandy once again, but spoiling the party is Caddy. Certainly his best for Northampton this afternoon in mind. Puts it onto his boot. He beats a few players, sends it back into base and gives his side another opportunity.
It certainly does. Goes to the forward now, and Kieran Harris is the player with the ball. But well fought by Tyler Caddy. He took 2 or 3 on, and they couldn't lay a hand on him. He got the ball forward, and Kieran Harris...
He just thinks on his feet, that fella, doesn't he?
He does. He just goes hard. Ball comes away of Jake Criddle. He feeds a handball out. Running with the ball is Jamie Williams. Comes back towards Towns. Caleb Sewell's that player. Has the ball held to him. Didn't have prior opportunity. And the umpire will come in, umpire Paul Brown, and throw the ball up. Light shower has passed, and the ball thrown up. Still a little bit of rain around, but nothing of any consequence. Ball comes away, and a free kick's been picked out. It'll go the way of Northampton. And Jake Criddle continues to pick up kicks. Short pass, looks for a teammate, and finds that player in Aidan Bartolo. And Aidan Bartolo is 25 metres out, directly in front, kicking to the golf club end, so he can narrow the margin. Aidan Bartolo, been good this afternoon, works hard. There goes his kick. The ball screws away to the left-hand side at 1 point only. And on the total workwear scoreboard, Towns are 9-3-57 and Northampton are 6-5-41.
It is probably a lead too big to surmount for Northampton at this stage,
yes.
One would imagine. There's one coming out of the fence now for the I should say Towns. We'll get it right in a moment. Ball on the far side now as Towns go further afield on the Floors Road side of the ground into the half-forward area, but the defence for Northampton working pretty well. Players have almost stopped to a standstill as they feel the effort that they put into the third term was fast and furious, and certainly decided the outcome, that's for sure, as the ball goes back the way now of Heberley. Heberley in the orange boot sends it down into the half-forward area, inside the forward 50, and it's Lawson, the Calbarry boy, who takes the mark. He goes laterally now, finds a teammate, and they slow things down somewhat as the ball goes back the way of Teakle. In fact, it's Eastoff. Eastoff comes down the line. He's looking for a player there, and he finds him. Moving forward now. Here's the player there in in Jake Mitchell. Jake Michelle, sends it further afield down the line, and you find that the mark is taken by Luke Burns. Burns now doesn't waste any time, sending it into the full forward area. The mark was almost taken by Teagle. He held onto it, then he dropped the ball in the final stanza. The ball goes to ground, no mark paid, and it's Towns who mop it up, and that is through the player there in Sandy. Getting a few kicks here this afternoon in his debutante game for Towns. In the middle, goes away of Forrester, wastes no time. He sends it straight down the middle of the ground. He's looking for support down there. Does he find it? Jalen Parsons has come right down the ground. He's tackled late, or flew Parsons thinks he was, and decides to up the ante somewhat and have a bit of a push and shove, but a free kick has gone the way now of Gus Hebley. Gus Hebley, as we said, he's been a big pickup for Northampton today. Jalen Parsons gets another free kick then, so he knows how to get them. And he has scored 5 goals this afternoon and probably figuring as one of the best for his side. The ball into the full forward area. It's a big kick by Parsons. Over the back of the pack, the mark is almost taken by Ugle. He can't snaffle it up in time, but the ball spills free. Have they got another opportunity? Oh, yes, and it is a toe poke goal. It's a beautiful goal, and that toe poke has ensured that they've won this game this afternoon.
Faithful.
Have Towns, and William Faithful does a bit of Ronaldo with the World Cup on at the moment.
The umpires are converging and conversing.
Certainly, Popovich, I say would certainly want him in their team. And Faithful, he is a veteran in the side, but he didn't take an opportunity too lightly there, and saw it looming and put his boot to it and made sure it was a goal. And Towns are going to go out winners in the Australian O'Malley game this afternoon on the scoreboard 10-3-63. They lead Northampton 6-6-41. Never give up, never give up, never give up, Glenn.
Yeah, good effort from both sides this afternoon, but Towns have just had the edge. They continue to work hard. Their work rate's been good. Just had the edge in class, and Jalen Parsons with those 5 goals has also helped.
He's been the icing today.
He has, very much so. So it's going to be a good win to Towns. Towns keep their final 4 hopes alive. Towns 10-3-63, and they lead Northampton 6-5-41. We're into time on in this final quarter with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Ball comes out, goes the way of Kieran Harris. Picked up now by Jay O'Brien. Jay O'Brien gets the kick forward. Northampton player and a Towns player converge. Ball comes back to Northampton. Northampton have it. They send the ball forward. Good bit of play there from the Northampton player in Lockie Teakle, who's been good this afternoon. Gets it forward only as far as Jay O'Brien for Towns. He goes backwards and finds Luke McGregor. McGregor with a short pass in towards the centre. Looking there for Hebley. Hebley was held while not in possession. And the player that gave away the free kick is Robert Jansen. He pleads his case, but they never change their mind, Robert. As we see the ball goes the way of Hebley. Hebley comes back across the ground towards the clubroom side. Pretty happy Towns clubroom side today. As the ball goes the way of Jay O'Brien. Barely 15. Goes the way of the player there in Caleb Sewell. Sewell centres the ball. And he finds his teammate in Leon Jones. Leon Jones, true centre wing position in front of the Podge Jackson grandstand. Kicks it up along the boundary line. Looking up there, ball spells to ground. Goes the way of Tyler Caddy. And there's the siren. And Towns have won the much precious GNFL Premiership points of the Community Bank Premiership season. And full time here in our match of the day on Drill and O'Malley Motors Game Day. Towns are winners. Towns 10-3-63. They've defeated Northampton 6-5-41. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football.
You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day. Thanks to our sponsors, Melissa Price MP and Grant Russell Chartered Accountants on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.